Hello, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that James Mason once called Splendid, absolutely splendid. Now where's the brandy? My name is Cody, and let me ask you, what do you call a man who is no longer a man? An X-Man. And today we're going to take a look at X-Men Mutant Revolutions from WizKids. In X-Men Mutant Revolution from WizKids, 3 to 4 players are going to take on the roles of different superheroes or villains and the different schools they represent to advance their own idea of what a mutant revolution should look like. Players can play as either Storm, Cyclops, Wolverine, or Magnet Boy. Magneto. Each player is going to receive a card that details their specific school with their specific power, and they'll receive a little tiny plastic miniature representing one of the 4 heroes that they're playing. Now, the game plays out in a series of phases. Now, the first phase is an upkeep phase, which is not terribly important in the first round, but it becomes more important, obviously, as the game goes on. Now, the first thing you can do is if you have characters that are injured or they lack power, you can recover power up to their full power, or you can remove an injured token. Now, power is kind of like allows them to do special character abilities during the game, and lets them do a few other things, too. Next, you can advance the revolution. Now, what you're trying to do in this game is get to 6 revolution points. First one that gets to 6 revolution points wins the game. Well, in advancing the revolution, what you can do is if you have 6 characters there, including your main character that you're playing, if they each spend 1 power point, you can move the revolution marker up 1, moving you closer to your goal of 6 points. Next, you acquire hope. Hope is kind of the general currency in the game. You're going to use it to bid on different things throughout the game. So hope is very important. It allows you to do things. Now, you're going to gain 1 hope coin for every student you have in your school. A few other little things here and there. But you're going to lose hope depending on the number of heroes you have in your school. They cost money. So there's this kind of balance. You always kind of want to have more students than heroes because students give you money, they give you the hope coins, heroes take away the hope coins. Then you are going to advance a plot marker. And plot marker, that's another kind of a currency. It lets you spend things with your plot cards, and more on that in a minute. But you're just going to move that to wherever your revolution marker is. So wherever your point value is at the time, that's going to give you more or less options in the plot phase. Next is the plot phase. First thing you're going to do is every player is going to draw 3 plot cards. Now these plot cards, they can be very different things. Players can work together to accomplish a certain goal. A couple of players here or there can team up. Maybe if they work together, they spend a certain amount of plot points, they can both get a revolution point, or they can both accomplish something else, or they can both harm somebody else. So you're negotiating in this phase because you're trying to help yourself, you're trying to advance your agenda. Sometimes you're not going to have the plot points to do it, but you can use other people's plot points in exchange for a promise of helping them. But you're under no obligations to help them. You can totally screw people over here. Also, there is a real take-that element in that you can play certain cards that will hurt other players. You can even play kind of reactionary cards that will negate the effects of other players playing cards against you. And so if you're spending a lot of plot points to do something against somebody else and they play one of these cards, well, then you spent all those plot points for nothing. You can also discard your plot cards, and each plot card has a value in hope coins. If you just discard that card, you can get that many hope coins. So players go around taking turns either playing an event or discarding a card or playing some kind of unique character ability they may have that plays out in this phase. And once you've done everything you want to do, you can pass. Once everybody's passed, you move on to the next phase. After you have discarded cards to your hand size, which changes with your revolution points, you move on to the recruit phase. Now, the first thing you're going to do in the recruit phase is you can actually, at this point, trade students and heroes. You can trade your characters with the different players. You can make deals, you can trade them for hope coins or other characters. They can change their allegiance. You can also just get rid of characters by sending them on secret missions. Essentially, you're just discarding them for their hope coins. And you may want to do this if maybe you got more heroes than students or for any other variety of any other reasons. Next, out of the recruit deck, you're going to place 4 cards face down in the center of the board. You're going to reveal them one at a time, and players are going to take turns bidding on these cards. Now, these cards are either heroes or students, characters you can add to your school, or they're training cards, cards that can enhance the abilities of some of your characters, and they can be very powerful. So you each have a dial that represents your specific school. And what you're going to do is you're going to set the dial to where you want to put it. You can set it from 1 to 10 or 11 to 14, I think you get to draw, or 10 to 14, something like that. You get to draw an extra card, an extra plot card. So that's pretty cool too. But you don't know, of course, when everybody's going to bid. You place them face down and then you reveal them. And then you see who gets it. And the result of a tie, you have another bid off. Once all 4 cards have been bidded upon and taken or not taken, then you move on to the mission phase. And this is kind of the dynamic part of the game where the characters that you have can actually go on missions. Now, the first thing that happens is you draw a mission card from the deck and you read it aloud. You determine exactly what the mission is. Then you're going to bid again. This time you're going to bid on who gets to be the mission leader. The mission leader is going to have certain options. They're going to control certain factors within the mission. And importantly, if you're elected mission leader, or rather if you had bid to become mission leader, you will get a revolution point. The mission leader can then invite the different schools to participate in the mission. And you don't have to participate, but it can hurt you if you don't sometimes, and there are really some good advantages in doing it. There may be an occasion where it doesn't work for you, but generally you're going to want to participate in these missions. Now, you're going to set up these missions, and these missions can be anything. These missions usually involve combat, but sometimes they can be disarming bombs or other funky things. And essentially, you're moving around, and the mission card, tells you exactly how the mission is going to play out. Now, combat is very interesting. Once you commit a character to the game, and most of the characters have little tokens that represent them that you can put out there, or if you're putting out your main character, you can do the little miniature figure. Now, every character has different stats. Attack, defense, movement, they're represented by a blue, green, and red die. And you're going to place these die on a special part of the board, a corner of the board. And you're going to set those stats matching what your stats are on the card. Essentially, what they tell you is that if you're attacking, you are going to roll that number of attack die. So if my attack stat is a 4, I'm going to roll 4 attack die. If my defense number is 3, I'm going to roll 3 defense die. So the attacker, the defender, are going to roll the appropriate number of die, and then essentially you're going to line up your highest rolls to your lowest rolls and put them against each other. Whoever has, of course, the higher roll is going to be the winner. I think ties go to the defender, but you're going to go down and compare each dice. For every hit point the defender takes, he has to choose which stat on his stat die he's got to lower until he gets all the way down to 0. He can't defend himself anymore, in which case he is injured and he is out, and he's lost that mission. So in addition to any revolution points that may be won in the rewards phase, you may also get a triumph token, which can also help in various other factors throughout the game. Now, you continue to go through these phases until one player has reached 6 revolution points. Once you have those 6 revolution points, you are the winner of X-Men Mutant Revolution. X-Men Mutant Revolution is actually based upon a game from Gale Force 9 a few years ago, Spartacus. I never played Spartacus, but I played several other games from Gale Force 9. Homeland, Firefly the Game, Sons of Anarchy. Loved them all. Fantastic games. But I had never played Spartacus. So I was kind of optimistic with X-Men Mutant Revolution because it's essentially the same game, just with a new theme painted on, and I've been so happy with other things from Gale Force 9, I figured that this game from WizKids, this retheming from WizKids, is probably going to be a pretty good game. Now, first of all, let me get some of the criticisms I have of X-Men Revolution out of the way. one of the biggest problems I had with the game is you're kind of building a team with these different characters, and yet they never really feel like a team. You're always just putting one of them out there. And I wish there had been a mechanic where somehow you could put more than one out to really kind of complement each other. Maybe have some bigger battles, because those missions, while some of them are very cool, some of them aren't. Some of them aren't very fun. First game we played, we got some of the lesser missions, and it was like, ugh, really? And then, subsequently, the missions really picked up, and they were a lot more fun. But still, I wish it had been a little bit more team-based, because you spend so much time team building, but then you never get to really work as a team. That was a little problem I had with the game. Also, it's fiddly. There's a lot of steps, as you saw in my breakdown, and it's just a little more fiddly than it needed to be, it felt like. It just kind of, okay, we'll do this, then we'll do this, then we'll do this. And games that just kind of go, here's a step, here's a step, here's a step. I don't know. At times it almost felt like the game was playing you rather than you were playing it. I guess that's not a major problem, but, at times you wanted a little bit more direct involvement, and you just felt like you were doing what the game told you to do. The recruitment phase, the cards come up, and you can pick through the cards, but even then, you're just bidding on a specific card, and you only get 4, and there's not a lot of options, it felt like, in the recruitment phase. I wish there'd been a way where you had more options there. Finally, my biggest criticism with X-Men Mutant Revolution is its length. This is easily a 2-hour-plus game, and it just felt like it didn't need to be that long. Now, some games where I criticize the length, my biggest criticism is the game outlasts the fun it produces. I don't think that's the case with X-Men Revolution. But still, it feels long. It feels longer than it needed to be. I think this game would have really benefited from being, an hour to an hour and a half game instead of a two-plus hour game. I think you could play a game like this conceivably that went up to the full 3 hours. Now, so those are some significant criticisms I had of the game. But having said all of those things, I have to tell you, I enjoyed this game. I actually thought it was pretty fun. I liked the bidding, which is not really my favorite mechanic in a lot of games, but I liked it here. There was some real tension. I liked the take that abilities you could do during the plot phase, and you're just screwing each other over, but then you're also negotiating with each other. And I have to tell you, probably my favorite mechanic in any game is negotiation. I love games that really promote negotiation. And this is a great one because it's not cooperative, you're working against each other, but sometimes you just have to work together to get some things done. And I really, really like games that can do that, can force players to do that. Some of the missions, as I say, were really cool, and I really, really like the dice string mechanic, where you're comparing the highest roll dice to the lowest roll dice. I think that is just cool. It's not something I've seen before. I'm sure the mechanic's probably been out there before. I hadn't seen it before. I really liked it. I enjoy the combat in this game. I enjoy the stats and how they work and how they're kind of your hit points too. It just really worked. I like the special abilities that some of the characters bring to the game. I think they're fun, and you're constantly looking, okay, what can I do? What can I do here? Oh, I can do that! And you get excited because you have different opportunities to influence the game during the different phases. And I like that. There's a lot I like here. This is, I think, a fun and interesting game. It's not really what you expect, because you get this game and you are expecting a grand adventure filled with combat, filled with harrowing escapes and chases and all sorts of explosions. There's some of that. But this is really fundamentally a game of negotiation. And the game leading up to the missions is as or more important than the missions themselves. And I wasn't expecting that, and frankly, I liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. So I have some reservations about the game, but despite those reservations, I liked it. Now, again, my biggest problem with the game is the playing time. It was just a bit too long. It doesn't kill the game for me, but I think it keeps X-Men Mutant Revolution from being a great game. Instead, it's a good game. Maybe even a very good game, but it's just not a great game because of all these factors, but largely because of length. So for these reasons, I'm going to give a positive try it before you buy it. I think some of these things I said may turn people off from the game, but if you're like me, I think you can look past some of these weaknesses and still really enjoy X-Men Mutant Revolution. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And I gotta tell you, I would really like to see a religious superhero game. Something with the X-Mennonites, Hebrew, Moorman, and Nunderwoman.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Justin wants to know how I feel. Would I rather cut the grass or have a parachute not open? It's amazing. There's trivia cards. I'm learning so much about Justin Bieber. Why, did you know that Justin Bieber is a musician?